The swift parrot is one of only two truly migratory parrot species in the world. The species breeds only in Tasmania between September and January, and then crosses Bass Strait on its migration to mainland Australia between February and April. The overwintering range covers a vast area of eastern Australia, from Queensland to South Australia, where birds follow seasonal and annual changes in eucalypt flowering and other foraging resources. The population then returns again to Tasmania from late August to mid-September for breeding. The entire swift parrot population is estimated to be approximately 1,000 breeding pairs, and the species is listed as nationally endangered under the Commonwealth Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act. The swift parrot is a small to medium-sized parrot, approximately 24 centimetres long. They have bright green plumage with a red forehead, throat and tail, and a blue crown. Their long tail and a red patch under the wing is characteristic during flight. After their arrival in Tasmania, swift parrots seek out areas of abundant foraging resources and tree hollows for nesting. The breeding season coincides with the flowering of the Tasmanian bluegum and blackgum, which provide copious amounts of nectar. This nectar is the key food resource for nesting swift parrots. Other important sources are invertebrates such as lerps and leaf galls. In eastern Tasmania, the distribution of breeding sites closely mirrors the natural distribution of the Tasmanian bluegum, which highlights the importance of this food source. Some breeding sites are also known from the northwest of the state, where blackgums and planted bluegums are common. The flowering patterns of the Tasmanian bluegum vary in their distribution and intensity, usually resulting in only parts of the breeding range providing an abundant food source. Swift parrots tend to follow these flowering patterns from year to year. This spatial patchiness in flowering often results in a large proportion of the population becoming focused on small forest patches or regions for breeding. Providing adequate foraging resources are close by, swift parrots will nest in both wet or dry eucalypt forests, from the coast to over 600 metres above sea level. Mature forests with abundant tree hollows provide ideal nesting habitat. Swift parrots will nest in any species of eucalypt, and nest trees are generally characterised by having large diameters and dead limbs or senescing crowns. These trees are often very old, as the development of hollows may take well in excess of 100 years. The primary threat to the swift parrot is habitat loss or degradation through inappropriate timber harvesting and land clearance for agriculture and urban development. The loss of breeding habitat in Tasmania is of particular concern. The potential effects of this on the swift parrot population may be devastating if key sites are lost before they can be identified. Other threats, such as collisions with man-made structures, including windows and chain-link fences, may be further exacerbated if the species becomes increasingly reliant on fragments of remaining habitat in cities and in towns. During the breeding season, adult swift parrots may forage for up to several hours before returning to the nest, Locating nest sites requires considerable patience from any observer. There are several behaviours and calls that change over the breeding season, which indicate swift parrot nesting. When adults return to a nest site, they often perch nearby, usually in dead branches. Birds may call, but are more often silent or make only soft contact calls. This can be for a short period or in excess of half an hour before they fly or walk to the nest hollow entrance. Branch walking is a behaviour often seen close to the nest site or when inspecting for a suitable nest hollow early in the breeding season. After egg laying, the female stays on the nest to incubate the eggs and brood the young hatchlings. She relies on the male to bring her food during this time. When he returns to the nest, the male usually perches nearby until the female emerges from the hollow. Then they walk along the branches to meet each other, or fly to a nearby perch, where the male regurgitates food to feed the female. While being fed by the male, the female makes a very distinctive begging call. Feeding usually takes 3 to 4 minutes, and soon after the female returns to the nest and the male flies away to continue foraging. In many cases, the birds cannot be seen, so recognising the female begging call is often necessary to identify breeding activity during this stage. If you are lucky, copulation can be observed during the egg-laying period.